If the world could stand against, though I'm my only rival. I chose to force my growth to learn how to be able. Maybe a shaky past, today I'm called stable. I'm standing taller cause I found the right angles. You see my face is bright, I'm shining like a star. With ambitions for moon, I end up on Mars. From the gutter, I ain't supposed to be here. 2.0 came to partner now, and I can see clear, I'm here.
So, hey, yo, welcome everybody to Adulting 2.0 through Launch Ministry. Today, I have Rob with me.
What's
hey,
up,
Rob.
man? Hey.
Hey.
How
you doing, Rob? How's it
what am I supposed to say? Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Nev, I missed you.
Rob, what are your pronouns so people don't assume when addressing you?
He, Himothy.
Timothy?
Yeah.
His,
him, he.
All right, awesome. So Rob just blessed us with an updated Adulting 2.0 theme song, and I'm so excited for everybody to hear it. So we have a bop, and we already had a bop because I released the old draft version. So we're just gonna have a quick listen to the new Adulting 2.0 theme song, and it's just gonna be amazing. I think we're all gonna just enjoy it. And let me just do the computer audio share. I'm my own technician because this is how we roll. So everybody enjoy this, the new song, our new theme song for Adulting 2.0.
If the world could stand against, though I'm my only rival. I chose to force my growth to learn how to be able. Maybe a shaky past, today I'm called stable. I'm standing taller cause I found the right angles. You see my face is bright, I'm shining like a star. With ambitions for moon, I end up on Mars. From the gutter, I ain't supposed to be here. 2.0 came to partner now, and I can see clear, I'm here.
Yay.
That long audio, that long instrumental.
Yeah.
Rob, can we just break down the lyrics real quick of what you wrote and what you meant by the lyrics? So I'm just pulling it up. So do you want to go bar for bar since you are the writer of this song?
Sure, let's go bar for bar. Are you going to read me the bar?
Okay, the bar is, if the world's against me, still I'm my only rival.
So I mean, that one's pretty self-explanatory. So I my life is I do my best not to compete with anyone else. Like my only competition is myself. If somebody's better than me at something, I always try to approach life as a student. Always. And that's something I definitely would say that I learned later in life. But if the world stands against me, I choose, especially in the industry I'm in the music industry, I choose not to play that type of game. Like I choose to approach things from a state of humility. So my only rival will always be myself. I'm just competing with who I was yesterday.
Oh, so you in your own lane. You ain't looking at other people's lanes. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
All right, period. So
if I am looking at someone else's lane, it's to learn. It's not to compete.
Snaps for that. I love that. So I choose to force my growth to learn how to be able. Maybe a shaky past. Today I'm called stable.
So I'm a huge believer that one of the defining factors of growth is self-awareness, which is not something that we all want to acknowledge all the time. I think a lot of times, like, people want to believe their own bullshit. Can I say bullshit?
Yeah, you can swear, you can cuss. Like, we adults in 2.0, adults cuss. We fine.
A lot of times, we want to believe our own bullshit. And I think it takes a responsible person to acknowledge their faults and go, I have this wrong with me. I'm going to force myself to go past it if I have the awareness of it. And obviously everyone has their past, everyone has their history. I've got a pretty deep one myself.
Which
And
we're going to get into.
oh yeah. And sometimes it's shaky, but yesterday's shakiness doesn't have to be today's instability. I have the ability to look at the mistakes of yesterday. A good friend told me recently, he said, you only have to be vigilant for today. He was like, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's vigilance will come tomorrow. But today, just worry about today. And that's how I try to approach life.
Your next line that I probably misread, I should have read it all together. I'm standing taller because I found the right angles. What does that even mean? That sounds risque to me.
No, I just wanted to be clever for real.
Because I'm like, I'm standing taller because I found the right angles. I'm like, okay.
When you're trying to, take a picture, you have to have the right angles. And when you're trying to hang a picture up, when you're trying to make something look presentable, you have to make sure that it's sitting right. Like when you walk into a room, most people are like this, but when you walk into a room and you see a picture is askew, you fix it, and so I'm standing taller, like I'm more myself, I'm more in my identity because I've found the right footing. I found the right angle of how I need to approach things.
This is my favorite line because you said something here. You see my face bright, I'm shining like a star. With ambition for moons, I end up on Mars. Bruh.
So I am a massive, massive believer in if you know who you are, and whom you are.
Come on.
You will always be walking towards your destiny. Things aren't always pretty, things aren't always good, but if you are who you're supposed to be, despite those things, you're going to continue to move forward. And sometimes we have these ambitions, sometimes we aim for things and they don't work out the way we want them to, or the way we envision, or the way we think they're supposed to, but it still gets us to greatness and where we're supposed to be. So like you could shoot for the moon, but if you miss, you can still land on Mars. Like you might not get what you wanted initially, but you look back, hindsight's always 2020. You'll look back and you'll be like, man, I'm way further than I ever expected to even get. And I didn't even realize it.
That was so dope. That was so dope. So me and Ron have a rapport because we used to be roommates back in California. So this is bro for me. So talking to him is just like we have such a candor relationship that like we can cuss and we could crack jokes on one another. Yeah. We can bros. That's the word. We can bros.
Yeah. That's why when he introduced me, I was like, hi, Neff, because he's been talking to me all week about this song. He's like, hey, can you change this? Can you do this? Okay.
Because as you're going to find out, working with artists, they be just like, no, I'm on a vibe. I'm on a time. I can't do it in this time period. I got to wait for the red moon so I can move accordingly. And it's just like, Joker, get the time done. Like, I'm more corporate. I'm a 9 to 5 type of person. I was going to say type of bitch, but I'm a 9 to 5 type of bitch. It's like, listen, I need it at this time, that time, and we're done. And Ron's just like, it doesn't feel right. I'm still not there yet. I gotta wait for the. And it's just like,
I was in a hurricane. We had a hurricane.
I'm like, girl, you still have some power. Like I girl everybody, so I'm not girling you raw. I know you he is him, but it's just like, child, if you don't get in that studio and stop like rapping and stop beatboxing and doing what you got to do, like, thank you.
Yeah, Neff don't play with me.
No, not at all. But from the gutter, I am supposed to be here. 2.0 came to partner now, and I can see clear. I'm here.
So, again, a lot of my story. A lot of these things, like I did take from my personal life, but I feel like they're universally true.
No, we all had a gutter moment. I know I have in my life.
I literally was like homeless in high school, lying about my address so I can go to school. Like. So
that part.
I'm not, and now I'm, a signed writer to Neo. So it's like, this was not supposed to be how this is supposed to happen. And I live in like the deep fried South, like we got deep fried racism in Charleston, South Carolina. Like,
well, so you just survived in racism and you just survived in life. And
come on, like exactly. So, from the gutter, I'm not supposed to be here. You
Come
know,
on.
2.0 came to partner, and I don't know a whole lot about the program, but
We all had a 2.0 story at one point or another. We all had a 2.0 program. We all had an opportunity in life that like really gave us tools and literally launched us to be successful in our adulthood. So though I'm not from Shasta, Minnesota. That's how I say. I say Shasta. Because if I say it normally, I'm gonna say Shaska because I'm Dominican. But like I'm not from Shasta, Minnesota. But I definitely had my own 2.0 story. Trust and believe that. And I definitely had people come into my life and mentors and give me the advice, give me the tea that I needed to become the person that I am today. And we're still in our becoming. We have not arrived. No one has arrived.
We have not arrived.
If you arrived, I feel sorry for you.
If you arrived, you don't need to listen to me. Say it, talk.
You don't need to listen to me. You can log out now. You can log out now if you have arrived. Because the real tea is that honestly, you can be 70 something. You still have something to learn. You still have something to grow. You still have you have something to be exposed to that you don't know yet. You should be a student to life. There should be something about you that is just like there's an opportunity of growth here. Because if you're not growing, you're stagnant, and stagnant stinks.
If you ain't growing, you're dying.
Ooh, well. But so those were the lyrics.
That's what that's about.
So that's what that's about. So the course is art and branding, and me being an educated individual, I like to define things. So art is a visual object or experience consciously created through an expression of skill or imagination. So Google says that there are 7 different forms of art: painting, sculpture, literature, architecture, cinema, music, and theater. So you are an artist. So where do you fall in the form of art? What is your form of expression?
If I'm honest with you, I'm a bit of a Renaissance man. I do music. I am involved also in cinema in South Carolina, and acting, and I also draw, and I dance. So yeah, I do quite a bit.
So now I'm talking about being a brand, and being a brand is the process of personal branding involving finding your uniqueness, building a reputation on the things you want to be known for, and then allowing yourself to be known for them. Ultimately, the goal is to create something that conveys a message that can be monetized. So a lot of people that carry their own brand and are who they are. One thing about me that I know about my brand, and I don't consider myself an artist, I'm fucking loud. I know that I'm loud. I know that loudness, like volume, is part of my brand. I'm very direct. So one thing about me is like I'm gonna say what needs to be said or what I feel that needs to be said in a respectful form because like I'm that person. That is my brand. Ra is the type of guy that he can walk into a freaking library and he'll be friends with a librarian. Like he like can make friends with anybody. Like, and it was so annoying being his roommate because I would have all these misfits of people walking into the home, and I'm just like, what are they doing here? Like,
hold on, that was not me. Out of the 5 roommates the 5 of us in that house,
you giving all the tea. You saying
I was not
like we were in California. I had 5 roommates. Yeah, 4 roommates. Yeah,
it was a lot of us. I was not the one bringing all the weirdos in the house.
No, I wouldn't call them weird, Raw. I wouldn't call them weird, but I would call them that these were interesting individuals with their own. That they were peculiar. They were
peculiar. Yeah. I like what Jess said. They were silly.
They were silly. Misfits. That's what they were.
Sure. Anyway.
So in order to build a strong personal brand, you need to know yourself. So Raw, first question. How would you say you know yourself? What are your qualities? What is something that you know that this is who you are at your core?
I know that I am a student of love. That is what I desire my life's work to be. That when I reach the end of my life, that people say that Raw loved well. I know that I am loyal, and I am also a person who is dedicated to progression. I don't like to sit in the same spot. I know that I believe in the power of teamwork for a myriad of different. that alone I could talk for an hour and a half on. And I know that I always chase exactly what I want.
Nice. So who would you say the second part is know your audience for those who are taking notes? So there's one, know yourself. There's two, know your audience. And this is to build a strong personal brand. So again, one, know yourself. If someone can note that in the comment section, I would greatly appreciate that. So one, know yourself. Two, know your audience. So who is your audience, Raw?
My audience is probably I would say from 14 to 30 somethings. So adult, like young adult, like teenager to young adult age.
Yeah.
Honestly, no particular demographic. I could tell you who I would want my audience to be, but my audience is definitely broader than my perspective. I've come to learn. But yeah, I would say that's what my audience is. That age bracket.
No.
Very multicultural for sure.
Definitely that. Three, focus on reality instead of perception. So number three is focus on reality instead of perception. So Raw, in what way do you focus on the reality instead of the perception of you? What is your reality and what do you think that people have perceived you as?
Oh my goodness. So my reality is I try to serve, and
So you're a servant leader.
I'm a servant leader. I have to work hard like everybody else does. And I have worked hard. And the perception definitely probably is that people mistaken my confidence for pride sometimes. And then the other perception of me is that my life is easy, or that like stuff just comes to me. And while, there's a level of favor ain't fair, you still have to steward that favor. You still have to put in your end of the work. Like you can't just get up. Like if you're acquiring a bunch of stuff and you're not doing anything with it, you've wasted it. Like there's to whom much is given, much is required of you. So like
right.
For everything that I do get quote unquote given to me, or I just happen upon, I still have a responsibility to work hard with those things.
Noted. 4, create and communicate your story. So number 4 is create and communicate your story. So in what ways are you constantly creating and communicating your story, Ra?
The creation portion comes on the daily. I think recently what I've actually fallen into with it actually spawned from a conversation I had with the head of my collective. His name's Gamma Donatello. If you guys want to look up his music, it's really good.
Not shameless plug, but go ahead.
Yeah, but it was a conversation, and he was like, Raw, he was like, you've got a really thick story, bro. He was like, I'll spell it for you. He was like, you've got a really like thick story, and he was like, you have to not be scared of the dark parts of your story. Like you have to be not scared of like sharing like the stuff that you went through. And I hadn't realized in myself that I had forgotten, not I had forgotten to him, but I had kind of avoided those things because I didn't want people to have a particular perception of me. But now it's like, oh man, like actually, I need to be able to communicate what I've gone through. So part of the communication, part of the creation portion is definitely having the self-awareness and the reflection. Like people don't reflect on their lives, and they don't reflect on past events enough, because I think when you look at where you've come from, you can know where you're going.
Come on. So would you say that you're constantly creating and communicating your story? Can you confirm the spelling of that, Raw, in the comment section? So would you say that you're constantly communicating your story through your music, through like moments like this, through your art, through your work? Like what other ways are you like constantly showcasing it? Like I follow you on Instagram and I know that like we're gonna talk about like you being a gym rat. Like since I've known this man, he's always had a gym membership somewhere and he lifts, he trains, and he's like all about like, you know, maintaining his physique. Like I maintain my physique in the kitchen. Rob maintains it in the gym.
Your physique in the kitchen. Right. That's what we
Listen,
call it.
anybody's a physique. Don't get it twisted.
Okay.
Like we're not gonna body shame on this podcast. But so like what other way are you doing that, Raw?
Let me think. Probably investing in the relationships around me. I have a very high core value that success is measured in relationships, not dollars and cents. All right, I'm gonna be done in 30. That's cool.
Yeah, just go outside.
I got cool. That success is measured in. Sorry, that was the owner of the studio. Success is measured in relationships, not dollars and cents. And so I do a very, very intentional job of communicating and investing in the people around me. And I feel like that's a big part of my story. Like I'm not big on putting myself out there, but that's also because of the nature of what I do. Like I'm kind of waiting my turn, but in the meantime, I'm laying the roots because, you know, everyone wants to be this like beautiful displayed plant and tree, or, you know, whatever the analogy is, but you got to lay good roots. Like that root system goes deep before it shoots up. So
That's really good, and I like what's happening in the comment section. And please, y'all, please engage. You're already here, so you might as well write some stuff in the comment section and just provide your opinion to the matter. It goes definitely a long way. Oh, Corey, love what you said. So, fifth question, fifth point. Consistently evaluate and continually improve. Consistently evaluate and continually improve. So how do you consistently evaluate yourself, Raw? And how are you always improving? Like we talk about growth. We talked about constantly being in the move. What are you constantly doing?
So one thing that I do definitively is, hold on 1 second. I'm so sorry. He locked himself out. Hold on.
Raw, not during the interview. So this is Raw in a nutshell. This is what Raw used to do to me, living as roommates. You just like think like, Raw, we're just gonna be formal and we're gonna have a moment, and Raw does something like this. But he locked himself out, so we have grace.
He the boss. You can't leave a boss outside. Like
it's like, man of God, you on a whole interview. Like, listen,
real. But like, what's he gonna do? You locked himself.
Listen, you gonna be famous one day, and I'm gonna be like, you better walk out during.
Listen, I'm gonna be at the Grammys. And my wife gonna call me about my kids, and I'm gonna pick up on stage. I ain't even care. But anyway, so this is how I evaluate. First of all, my first thing is I have a vision. A man without vision casts off restraint. So you can't know what to expect of yourself if you don't even know where you want to go. Like
come on, man with a vision.
So I keep a vision of myself.
Do you have a vision board? Are you a vision board type of guy?
I'm not a vision board type of guy, but I am a journaler.
Okay, come a journal.
I keep a decent record of where I want to be, and I'm honest with myself, and I track my progress. But something else I do is I make sure I have mentors who I have communicated who I want to be and what I want to do to. And
so you're not self-centered. You're not just like, oh, I'm great. I'm looking in the mirror. I've done it. I've seen it all. You have people question you, challenge you, sharpen you, and really call you higher.
Yeah, because the reality situation is you only can see what you see. Like,
come on.
Like
having people to see a blind spot, that goes a very long way. Because like, I'm trying to think of what was one of the things that you have told me, Rod, that I was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I really came across that way. It was just like, and he pointed something out to me like, you don't have, sometimes before like you've had breakfast, you're really grumpy. And it's just like, and I am grumpy. I know that about myself.
Before he's had his Bustelo,
Before I have my Bustelo for those Latinos out there, like I'm still don't talk to me. And
Yeah,
before,
no.
and I would engage and talk about things that's going on in the house and the apartment, and just like go like a dungeon dragon. And it
Slamming
was just
dishes, about to make some cereal. You hear 3 bowls hit the his plate.
one time I brought dishes to a roommate room.
Like, okay, Neff's up.
Neff is in the mood, but I need my coffee, and I realized that, and Rob was just like, that's really hurts our relationship when you don't communicate or you don't have your coffee and then engage on the issue. And I learned it was just like, oh, that was there the whole entire time. I'm now more self-aware. Look at
Exactly.
how it
But
happened.
you were only able to do that because you had someone who cared about you, who communicated it in love. And if you're not surrounding yourself with those type of relationships or being intentional about it, you're gonna believe your own bullshit. Like,
you're gonna believe your bullshit, and you're gonna believe that you're right. Because in moments like that, it's just like everybody else is the problem. I'm a perfect angel, and it's like, hold on, boo-boo. Let somebody bring a mirror to you and show you the angles that is just like that you can't see, and let you know your shortcomings. So we really hit the nail on the head with those 5 points. I think those 5 points are going to be really crucial for those of you that are working on building your personal brand, which I think we all are. I want to go more into Raw's life brand, and like I want to dive a little bit deeper just to talk into like how he became the person he became today. So Raw, going into your life brand, we're going to talk about your intersectionality. Intersectionality is how your life intersect from gender, sex, to race, to like your hobbies, to your upbringing, to where you are. Rod knows it's my favorite word. It used to be my old podcast.
I know what intersectionality is. You don't have to tell me now.
I know you know what intersectionality is, but I'm defining it for any listener that doesn't. So thank you.
Intersectionality with Neftali.
So let's go with your upbringing. Let's keep it concise because we're gaining on time.
I got you. I'll give y'all the spark notes. So I was born in South Carolina, moved to when I was young, moved to New York and then to Charlotte. My mom was married to my little brother's dad. When I got a little older, my mom got lupus. She got a divorce. We moved back to Charleston. And from then until like I was forever, I essentially was raising myself. I grew up poor, but like when you poor and that's all you know, like it doesn't feel like trauma. It feels, you feel normal.
Listen, I didn't have the Air Forces growing up. I had to eat the same meal every day.
Facts.
Like my house did not go without, in the sense like we never had a hungry day, but we had creative meals where we were always creative and coming up with different things and making sure like, like we gotta eat this, we're gonna reheat this meal this time for lunch, and like that sort of stuff. So you don't see yourself as someone that's like, at an economic disadvantage, but you definitely going through it.
No, facts. But you don't realize that. So like growing up, I had a good time. Like I recently was reflecting on a lot of this stuff. Like literally, like I've kept my bed on the floor since I was like 14 years old. Like my bed sits on a box spring, and it's just a mattress. But the reason why I did that is because people would shoot outside my house. So my bed is on the floor so I don't get shot while I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? And like you don't realize that stuff when you're young. You just do it. Like that's just what you used to. Like when I was a senior in high school, I was literally living in a hotel, lying about my address so I can go to school. So it was a lot of that. Then growing up, I was always into the arts and music and stuff. And then I grew up in the hood and in church a lot. I moved out to California for a while, experienced years.
Boy, we had a time last night. We had a
Oh my God. That was its own journey. And then I came back to South Carolina. I was like, all right, God, like when I left my music career. I left my band when I moved to California. And when I moved back to Charleston, I was like, all right, God, you told me we was gonna do this music thing. What's up? And then I prayed. And then a week later, I was sitting in my homeboy's living room, Gamma, actually. And Gamma's been in the music industry for quite a while. He would actually be someone good for you to interview. We connected, and then we started working on his album. And then like 3 months after that, we were at Neo's studio in Atlanta called Compound Studios, and a year after that, we signed.
Fabulous.
And now I'm here.
So part of your upbringing was also dealing with your disability. And funny story is that when I first met Raw, he told us that a shark bit off his hand, and we believe that like that's how his finger bones was able to move from his elbow. And we were just like, oh, that happened? Wow, like you really had a good surgeon. And we just thought he got bit by a shark, and he had the biggest surgeon. He would laugh at us all the time until one moment he was like, no, I was born like this. I was disabled. And we are like, oh, so Raw's a bit of an ass.
Yeah. Listen, if you can't laugh at yourself, you're doing it wrong.
But Raw, just talk about dealing with your disability, and really that's going to go into your gym life. So if you can just talk to us about it.
So I have what's called a radial cleft hand, I believe. And it's been that way my whole life. I never really like saw myself that way, because when you're born with something and you deal with it every day, it's normal life. So like to me, it was just like I've always had to work smarter than everybody else. I've always had to work harder than everybody else. I've always had to modify things. And I don't know, I just refuse to be ordinary. And I refuse, because it's like, if I was born different and everybody's going to treat me like I'm different, because they did, I got bullied plenty. Part of the reason why I started working out and doing martial arts, because I was like, I'm a hurt somebody.
And that right arm of Oz, listen, that's like, he's showing his muscle. He's flexing a little bit, his little muscle shirt that he wore on purpose to flex. Like flexing a little. That's the size of a baby's head, y'all. That's the size of a little baby's head.
Listen, like, this is what hard work looks like. It just sits there like that.
Oh, it doesn't flex? You're not flexing?
I can flex, but I'm not flexing.
Oh, okay. You just wore a muscle shirt because it was hot.
Yeah, I live in South Carolina.
So whatever. Back to the podcast, bro. Like, focus. Talking about you being in the gym, like you deal with your disability when lifting, and I've seen you be able to travail, push through, and you even have a creative way of lifting and exercising. And like, it's crazy how this man is able to put in hours at the gym, and he doesn't let anything stop himself. So please share more about that, Ro.
So it started probably when I was like 18, 19. I couldn't do any push-ups or pull-ups or anything like that. And I just had a friend, his name's Richard. I had a friend, and he was just like really into martial arts, and he was really into working out. And then so I would go with him a lot. And then the more I started to get into it, the better I felt. And it honestly was like a big outlet for me, because like, you know, my mom always being sick and us always fighting and me always being at the house, like I needed something to do. Like I just needed something to help express my, like, just, I guess, the internal frustration I was going through and didn't have the awareness of it. And then so I started going to the gym, and then over time, I just started doing more research, and then I ended up working at a gym. And then when I lived in California, I ended up getting recruited as a personal trainer at a pretty good gym in Humboldt where we lived. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just become a part of my everyday life. And I think a big portion of it too is my mom has been sick my whole life, you know, most of my adult life. And I watched her deteriorate and get worse and worse over time. And I was just like, man, that can never be me. I can never let that happen to me.
Right.
And so here I am.
Here you are. And now talking about your artistry, like one thing about you, Raw used to make necklaces, y'all. Raw used to always do something artistic. He always had something that he was always creating. What started that for you? What was the cuff of like when you started putting pen to paper, or when you started creating? What was give us your first experience, like your first arts and craft moment. What was that?
It was one of two things. It was either when I wrote my first poem when I was like 10 years old, or it was I would make little action figures out of paper. Like y'all remember the episode of Dexter's Lab? I don't know if y'all are old enough.
Yeah.
But that episode of Dexter's
Well, I
Lab,
won't speak for everybody, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
when he cut out those like the toys and then he like put them in the machine and it turned them into toys. I was like, oh man, like that's so cool. And so I would make toys out of paper, and then eventually I moved to making them out of felt, and then I started drawing, and that's probably like the beginning of like arts and craft. My mom used to literally confiscate scissors from me. She'd be like, you cut up all this paper, it's on my damn floor, clean this up. And so that was probably my first like stab at arts.
So, okay, y'all, I'm not going to hold y'all hostage for those who are going to leave. If you leave, you're rude. But the secret phrase is the third point that we listed. The secret phrase is the third point, which is focus on reality instead of perception. Focus on reality instead of perception is the secret phrase. So for those that have been waiting, there it is. It's the third point. So going into music, Rob, because like one thing about you is my boy can sing, my boy can rap, and you have quite the talent. Like, oh my gosh. Can you just talk to us like what like your like what how you started singing, how you got creative, how you got your flow in rapping? What was all that about?
Let me think. Okay, so this is how like it all like really started. So when I was 17 years old, so I'd always like kind of been rapping, like, you know, I grew up black and poor. So like rap music is what you love and what you like. So I would always like rap and stuff. But then when I was 17 years old, my friend Hunter, every time I was in the car with him, he would make me sing. Like I would mimic Lil Wayne's auto-tune voice. This was when the Carter 3 came out, and I would mimic Lil Wayne's auto-tune voice, and he was like, you know what, if you like actually tried to sing and like didn't do that, you probably could do it. And so for about a year and a half.
You're not gonna show us, you're just gonna talk about it. You're not gonna
I'm definitely not gonna do Lil Wayne voice. And then so,
well, not Lil Wayne voice, your actual singing voice.
Oh, look up some of the tracks.
Plug in for Chakra. Plug in for
okay.
Chakra by Raw Worthy on iTunes.
He would like make me sing every time we were in the car together, and then people would literally laugh at me. Like they were like, "You can't sing, ha ha ha." And then it was funny is like 3 years after that, I was in a band called Alice and I, where I was the lead singer, and we did a lot of cool stuff. I got paid to do what I did. So I went from being laughed at to being somebody.
Ooh. So what would you say is the anthem song to your life?
The anthem song to my life. Oh man, that's a good one.
Listen, I'm an interviewer. This is what we do.
Hold on, let me think. Give me.
Okay, so Raw's song, as he thinks, is Chakra. For those that want to hear him, because Raw doesn't want to display his artistry for us for whatever reason. So Chakra, and his name is Raw Worthy, R.A. Worthy.
R.A. Worthy, yeah. My life song would probably be, if I gotta pick one, I'm gonna say Kendrick Lamar. The one he did with SZA for the
which one?
Love, let's talk about love. Is it anything or everything you want for? That's probably my life song, because in that one he communicates a lot. Like he communicates that, like he says, competition ain't nothing new to me. You can bring a bullet, bring the war, bring the sword, but you can't bring the truth to me. F you and all your expectations. I don't even want your congratulations. Like he's just like, I work hard, and at the end of the day, you can if I do good or if I do bad, I live the life that I pursued and I tried my best. And I think that would be my life song.
So we have a few people in the list, and one of the things that me and Rod used to do back in our ministry days, like when we went to ministry school, we used to do this fun interactive where we would speak a word of encouragement or sing over people or rap or whatever. So Rod has agreed to earlier that I'm gonna twist his arm on that he's going to sing over some of y'all, rap over some of y'all.
I would love. Oh, go for it.
I want to make it volunteer based because I believe in consent. So who would like to have a song over them, a rap over them? You don't have to give us any detail. Ra's just going to just hear your name and just like flow from there. So do I have a volunteer or will I have to?
And I can see the chat.
Okay, Jess had freestyle, so I'm gonna go with Jess.
Oh my gosh. I haven't done this in so long. Okay. Be gracious to me, folks. Let me think. I gotta get something in my head. All right. Okay, Jess. Ain't no need to try to impress. In truth, your values like an impress. And every time people pull up on your line, they get a taste of their design. You do a good job of letting people feel good. Let them know that you're right there. Let them know that you're willing to brush their hair. Let them know that you a servant. Let them know that you're something that's real rare and that you care. Okay, there you go.
Is there another volunteer before I volunteer? Because I'm just gonna make them do it for 2 more people, and then that's it. I won't put y'all out there. Is there anybody in the comment section that wants to write me or put an emoji?
It's vulnerable. It's vulnerable for both of us. I'm not gonna lie.
It is pretty vulnerable. It is pretty vulnerable, but I believe the power of vulnerability. Jess, you can message me privately and ask me, let me know if that made sense or not. Oh, okay. Oh, Allie? Is that a thumbs up? Okay, so Allie.
Okay. All right. Hold on, no. I can't do last names, right? No. Okay.
No last names.
Right. I got you. Okay. Allie. Big stepper like you Armin. Clean up people's eyes like some Charmin. Let them know that they are darling. Hold them close. Treat them better than Eric Cartman. Sometimes people call you charming. Don't be alarmed when you go high. Let them know you was ready to touch the sky. Sweeter than a piece of pie. All right, that's it for that one.
All right, the last one is
difficult without instruments, guys. I promise it's a different presentation.
I know. I put you in this spot. It's something that, like, honestly, it's vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there. I won't add this out there. She said thank you. The last one that I'm gonna request for you to do, and he's probably gonna look at me sideways. I would like for you to do for Corey, and so whatever you get for Corey.
Okay. All right. Hold on. All right, God, partner with me, man. Don't make me look dumb. Hold on, Corey.
Don't make me look dumb, God.
Okay. I think I got the beginnings of it. Okay. Corey Schmore. That's funny, Maddie. All right. Corey, you're strong like a truck. Never been held back. You never been a sitting duck. You don't got to give up if they call you, if they let your past try to scar you, if they want to say you ain't getting your way, it's okay. Because you're going to see brighter days. You already started moving forward like a forward. You're running forward. Better than Dorothy inside the porridge. In the forest. Moving mountains with your chorus. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and folks, that was that. I was gonna say that was Corey. That was Rob Worthy.
Yes, he said you just said you can do it.
You can find him on Instagram at Rob Worthy. Check out his single Chakra for Rob Worthy. And this was art and branding course. If you got anything from it, Honestly, know yourself, know your audience, focus on reality instead of perception, create and communicate your story, and consistently evaluate and continually improve. So I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you for tuning in to Art and Branding. This call is now dismissed. Rock, do you have any final word before I hit the end button?
Thank y'all for having me. I'm real honored, and you know, it's a blessing. I hope I was helpful.
Sure was. You blessed me. You helped me out. All right. Bye, everybody.